So very good morning to all of you, and thank you for inviting us here. So I'll introduce myself first. I'm Santosh Kumar Singh, presently Chief Sustainability Officer for Larsen & Toubro. And I've been doing this for the last 16, 17 years. Earlier I was CSO for the energy vertical of Adani Group. And before that I used to advise corporates getting sustainability linked loans or finance from ADB, World Bank. So I've been working in partly finance and then social sector all through my life. And I'll start with a round of brief introduction. I know we don't have a lot of time and we would like to keep it engaged and have some time for the audience also. So I'll start with Siddharth first.
Thank you, Santoshji. Fellow panelists, very good morning to you all. Audience, very good morning. So my name is Siddharth, and I am coming from Uttarakhand. I have spent almost a decade with not-for-profits, CSRs, and some multilateral organizations, bilateral organizations. Another decade I had spent in education, particularly with the higher education. I worked at the university, primarily as a professor. And around 2 years ago, I left my full-time job and I floated my own startup, which goes with the name Rurally. Rurally stands for Restoring Use of Rural Art and Life Initiative. We'll talk about it in the deliberation itself. I am very thankful to the organizer, Mr. Bhatia, Tina. Thank you for inviting me over. Looking forward to speaking to you all, looking forward to learning with the fellow panelists and the other panelists for sure. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Thomas.
Hi, good morning to all of you. It's indeed a great pleasure to be here this morning and also to be part of this panel discussion. My name is Sony Thomas. I head CBM India Trust as the Executive Director. After about 24 years of work with the corporate, working with various brands, starting with Singer Sewing Machines to ITC Limited, to Titan Watches and Titan Timex brands. And then the last was with Nokia mobile phones. Was working with Nokia for about 14 years. The initial days from 2000 to 2014 when the brand was like just come into the country and less than 5,000 phones, I joined them. Had the privilege to grow all the way up to 6.8 million phones every month in the country. But that only was the corporate part. Then began my passion for doing something, return back to the society from where I come from. So I had the opportunity to work in the development sector. It's been 12 years now. 10 years I worked with World Vision India, working for children. And the last 2 years with CBM India Trust, working for not just children, but children and adults with and without disability. So CBM India Trust has been in the country working for about 55 years and working in 23 different states, impacting the lives of about 2.2 million people and touching the lives directly of 115,000 persons with disability in the space of inclusive education, inclusive livelihood, inclusive environment, and also disaster risk resistance and health sector. So I will talk about it more as we have the panel discussion.
Yeah, Brinda, please.
Hi, my name is Brinda. I'm the CEO of eVidyaloka. I've been a banker. That's how I started my career. I've been doing a banking role in multiple multinational banks, and then I wanted to give back to the society. I took a sabbatical, wanted to play safe, quote unquote, got trained to be a teacher, and went and stayed in Uttarakhand. By the way, I stayed in an ashram school near Uttarkashi. All right, so yeah. So and when I came back after my stint, I know I was a converted person. I wanted to use the skills that I've obtained over the years to be in the sector, to make the change. And then eVidyaloka happened. So I've been with eVidyaloka for about more than 6 years. EV as such was founded in 2011. We teach India. We teach rural India. And since then, we've taught about 6 lakh children over the years. And last year, we're about teaching 2 lakh children, all in government schools. And what do we do in these schools? We teach scholastics and skills. With that said, we understand that wherever there's a teacher shortage, / we want to improve the quality of teaching, we are there. We enable digital classrooms. We work with volunteers and then have them beam into the classrooms and teach these children. The children are underserved only because there is a shortage, and we kind of make do with that by very skilled volunteers dialing in and teaching. So with that said, we've seen the children grow, blossom, get educated and do well in life. So we'll speak more about the model, what we do, etc. But essentially, it's been great being a part of the sector. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone. So I have a great panel with me. And just to give the context for discussion, the topic itself is at an intersection of financial prudence and social responsibility. So when I say this, there are a couple of things which intrigues me. The first is, how do we define the return or whatever we invest in CSR? There's a whole set of redefinition is required, because the matrices that the boardroom understands are the IRR or the return on capital, or these days the PE multiple, that what kind of profit I make to get a market cap or target market cap. CSR, in any investment in CSR, perhaps cannot be measured like this. So there is a need of redefining it. How do we include sustainability matrices into getting the evaluation of a CSR, which I think Dr. Anthony was talking about. How do we measure the outcome, not only the input and output in terms of impact? Secondly, is CSR an obligation, or it's more of an opportunity? So 2% profit, average profit of last 3 years is the responsibility or obligation for the board. But can we use it as an opportunity of making a change which is sustainable, involves everybody, and then really can be transformative? Once we have synergy in these two, it can be a game changer. This is what I have seen in very some areas and limited areas, but that is the kind of potential it has. And again, taking cue from what you explained earlier, there is a lot of transparency and governance is required. How do we disclose it, or how do we transparently measure the impact, as engage with the stakeholders and then disclose it? So these are some of the context I just wanted to set. And I would like to start with Siddharth. So given your experience in grassroots engagement, how do you ensure that CSR is not compliant, but also catalytic, driving systemic change, mainly in the rural ecosystem that you have worked?
Thank you, Santoshji. So before I jump onto the question, I would like to give everyone a brief about what we are doing on ground. So rurally, restoring use of rural art and life initiative. It is an upcoming artisanal e-commerce. We work in two spaces. One is B2C and one is B2B. So when we were figuring out that what kind of legal structure we should get into, we were like contemplating whether to get into a trust, whether to get into a society or a not-for-profit company. But then we ended up creating a startup. So we got ourselves registered as a private limited company. Why? Because we, as you were pointing out, we wanted to focus on ROI. And how do we do that? So we realized that there are lots of NGOs, there are lots of FPOs, there are lots of self-help groups which are doing some amazing work which I do not want to do, or which rurally do not want to do. What we want to do is give them a leverage. And how do we give them that leverage? So we created the philosophical underpinnings for rurally, which rests on this circularity. We are pretty much focused, or we are in entirety focused on the circular economy concept. We are talking about circularity of production, we are talking about circularity of process, we are talking about circularity of livelihoods, social values, everything. We are creating a closed loop. Where? We are creating it with the FPOs which are making honey. We are creating it with the artisans who are designing Madhubani, who are designing an art called Epan in Uttarakhand, who are designing some bamboo products back there in the northeast. So rurally is pretty much focused on this concept of circularity, and that is where we focus a lot on investment from the CSR. We do not consider CSR as a charity. We very well know that for a lot of organizations, it is not even an obligation. It is the value that is imbibed into their processes by the founders, by the boards, by the people who are working in them. So we work with the NGOs, we work directly with the FPOs, we work directly with the self-help groups in doing very small activities which might not look very, very flashy, but they are very credible. So what do we do? So one example is a women group working on honey. Now when we started working with them, because what we do in our B2B model, we pitch their products to different corporates. Now the honey, the labeling is not at all, like good to the eyes. What exactly is the focus on marketing? So we started working with different designers. So we have collaborations with Delhi University, Banasthali. We are moving on to have collaboration with IIM. So we work with a lot of designers, engineers, marketing guys, that how this particular small product can be made more valuable, is more sellable to corporates, to retail customer as well. So that is where all investment of the CSR is channeled via rurally. So we do not take any funds. The fund is provided to a not-for-profit. We collaborate with the not-for-profit or with the FPO, and then we do the handholding from recreating, recurating the product, recreating the label, and packing it in such a manner that most of the products are plastic free, most of the products are done by the self-help groups, most of the products are packaged in recyclable materials. So this is where we as a startup take care of every penny that CSR invests not into us but into the NGOs, and via NGOs we try our level best to give the products, give those NGOs, give those artisanal livelihoods a push. So we are focused on increasing their incomes. For example, like there are examples. A simple label conversion has helped them getting 10 times more the price. So this is what we are trying to do on ground, and we are pretty much focused on the concept of sustainability and giving return both to the CSR as well as to the communities. So this is what we do on ground.
Yeah, it's so great to listen to all those things, because you are making sure that every rupee that is spent actually turns into some tangible benefit and measurable tangible benefits. It's wonderful to know.
Absolutely. This is our business model, to be very honest.
Yeah, Brinda, I'll come to you. The earlier panel also discussed a lot on AI and technology in education. You have demonstrated how digital infrastructure can bridge the gap.
Correct.
Between, with your experience, how you can make sure that this is scalable and not limited to 1 or 2 pilot projects?
Right. No, thank you. That's a great question. So whenever we started in 2011 and then onwards, at that point in time, not many schools had this digital infrastructure available as a part of what the government gives, and now it is more so. So we made it a point to work with the nodal organizations and create a smart classroom. What this means is to have a large TV screen, have a router, internet available, etc., and make it possible for the children to listen in to the classes. Now, who were conducting these classes were the volunteer teachers. So it's a combination of the goodness of human people through volunteering and through technology. So now these volunteers would dial in and teach these children. So that used to be part of the approved programs from the different state governments, and then the teaching learning would continue. Now, as a part of that, what happens after year one? Year one, yes, the children would learn, but then we'd have to make sure that we are accountable for many things. It's just not the metrics, of course. Metrics, which means that we need to have a lead and lag metrics. We need to make sure that the children understood. We were doing all the assessments just to make sure that the children understood what was being taught. But at the end of the day, what is it that we're trying to solve to the society to make sure that the girl child is not married off at grade 8 or grade 9? we have to make sure that both girls and boys at least complete their grade 10. We'll have to make sure and tell the parents that, hey, look, your boy is good. He needs to be educated. The value of education needs to be imbibed in the society. By doing this, what we're also putting together is the human angle behind the technology. By doing that, we are empowering the villages, we are empowering the schools, and the infrastructure was a way that we enabled the whole ecosystem to thrive. I've got many students from Evidaloka schools become engineers. Make sure that they are a part of a society which can give back. In fact, they themselves are coming and being a part of our ecosystem. So what does it mean? It means that we are sustainable. It means that we have a human at the back of a technology, which is very important. 3, we are scalable. We work with the governments. Wherever there's an infrastructure available and we have the right donor support, we can go and teach in these states. And what is being done and said is all done through the regional languages, because the children wouldn't understand English. So we are present, we can scale, we can teach, we can measure, and then we can move on to other villages to empower the whole of the country. So that model has worked. So that's how my learning has been, in fact.
Yeah, it's wonderful that you are complementing the government's efforts or government's
Absolutely.
initiatives, because that is where there can be a synergy.
Correct.
Because to set the
We can't work in isolation.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
Because CSR, I believe, in FY24, the investment which was available was almost 34,000 crores, which you see, if you club with the government's investment or government's kitty, it's 1,80,000 crore odd. So it's still 20% of what the government wants to do.
Absolutely.
And what is happening is government's investment or government's budget in these areas is seeing an incremental change, small increments every year. But this CSR investment has almost tripled in the last 10 years or so. So there's a huge opportunity of making it work. So that's a wonderful example.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Thomas, I will come to you. You have made a huge change from Nokia to CBM, mainly into a disability inclusive development. Please share your experience. How do you make sure that CSR fund is also channelized or invested into making the world more inclusive?
Thank you. So as I was talking about, the various interventions that we do, especially in the sectors like inclusive health, inclusive education, inclusive livelihood, the other cross-cutting themes that we work, especially under the space of DEI, is also to bring in accessibility and inclusion. We are also authorized access auditor under the government scheme, and we do an audit for a lot of government offices as well as corporates, and also have learning materials which are to build capacity for corporates, LMS platforms, and also teachers learning materials, etc. Whatever we do, we always make sure that the core principle is that in the true development, that we don't leave anyone behind. That's very, very critical in the work that we do. And we've also learned over the years that disability inclusion is not just running things parallelly, or like just doing some special programs, but building accessibility and inclusion into the DNA of every project that we do. So to the question on directing CSR funds intentionally towards accessibility and inclusion, it's very, very important that, as we do engage in any CSR program, right from the start, whether it is in education, whether it is in healthcare, or whether it is in skilling, we are making sure that the components of disability and inclusion is also incorporated right at the beginning. Because, if you leave that in the beginning and, retrofitting inclusion or inclusion or even the component of accessibility later will be much more expensive. So the challenge today is, even with CSR, sometimes these are seen as a very niche vertical, but it is not. And if you are able to work on it right from the beginning, the investments make much more returns. And also important is, as far as corporate CSR, definitely for NGO sectors like ours, it brings the capital and the scale that it can do. But definitely, you're not doing that alone, and we as partners, we are also here to actually build the capacity, and with all the technical know-how that how we have done this in the ground, when we partner together, we can actually make a lot more intruders into the work that we are doing. And the beauty of investment into disability is also, it actually multiplies the effect. Whatever you do as part of inclusion or disability is not just you're doing it for one particular community of a person with disability, but it enlarges the space for the entire community as such. Because let's say you're putting up a ramp, or you're just having some railings, but it's not just for the person with disability, but even an elderly person who's visiting the school, or a pregnant woman who wants to walk up the stairs, can use the ramp. So it's not just only for the person of disability. So it's something that intentionally, when we do right from the beginning and start from the beginning itself, it really pays out a lot more dividend.
Yeah, thank you. So what we do is, in the interest of time, we'll have 2 quick questions from the audience. I know many of you have a lot of queries, and the subject and the topic is such that we can go on and on and on. So can I have 2 short and quick questions?
Hi, this is once again, I'm Dr. King Mohan from Medifit Consultants. I'm the Vice President for Global Business. My question to you all is, what are the NGOs doing for health, fitness and wellness for rural people? Is there a platform which is designed? In fact, I'm happy to see a lot of people from different parts of the country joining the national team and representing the country. But if NGOs take up this kind of a job of taking care of healthcare, fitness and wellness at rural areas, it will do wonders for our country. Your thoughts on it?
Siddharth, you would like to take that?
Yeah, thank you for this question, sir. And as far as my understanding goes, there are organizations which are definitely in the space of wellness. So there is an organization, if you want to Google it, Sports for Development, right? So this is an organization founded by Sohail Tandon, and his father also is into the not-for-profit industry, and he's a stalwart, Dr. Harish Tandon, who established PRIA. So Sports for Development work into the development space with the rural students. So their focus is on developing students via sports. So they do a lot of activities, they do a lot of rural Olympics, and in the past also there have been a lot of organizations who have undertaken such projects which have pushed these students towards sports. Fitness as such, I am not so sure. I haven't seen any organization working particularly into the fitness, but yes, there are a lot of people who are coming up with some more ideas related to wellness in the urban as well as in the rural area. So I am on board with one of the incubation cells as well, and we are, I'm not at the liberty of exposing that at this point of time, but then we are working with some young students wherein we are integrating the wellness within the urban landscape at the micro level. So we are not talking about creating gyms more, we are not talking about creating the fitness apps, we are talking about creating something which has to do with nature, which has to do with wellness and nature. So there are a lot of organizations, you definitely can find out. Sports for Development is a wonderful organization. I'm a little forgetful of the other organizations' names, but yes, people are doing some great work related to sports and development, fitness per se for urban as well as the rural areas.
So as an NGO, CBM also works in rural across the country. As Christopher Blended Mission, we work with a lot of CSR entities and establish vision centers, inclusive vision centers across the country. More than 200 vision centers we have established, where primary eye care and screening is done for rural people We have community mobilizers who mobilize the people from the community to come and do the primary screening, and then we refer them to the tertiary or secondary centers for cataract surgeries, which give them vision. Another example I can share in the health sector is, we have set up several early intervention centers or community learning centers for children with multiple disabilities. Again with corporates where we are working in all these rural areas, where community mobilizers mobilize these children with the caretakers, bring them to our center. They are given completely free treatment of various therapies, whether it is physical therapy or occupational therapy or in any space, whatever therapies that their children need, from the baseline to what we are seeing how the child is developed, we are monitoring and reporting it back to the corporates as well.
Yeah, I believe that is the model that may work. We cannot have a super specialty hospital kind of thing in every taluka or so.
Sir, you may also like to see Dream a Dream Foundation, which is based out of Bangalore. They work a lot with two models. One is the art model and other one is the sports model, and their underprivileged kids have represented in the underprivileged FIFA Cup as well. So you can have a look at them too.
Thanks, Siddharth. So I believe we should not take, we are already over time.
I am Sanjay Bhatt from Gujarat Alkalis and Chemicals Limited, Baroda. In fact, I have no question, but one submission to make at this forum is that see, I mean, as rightly said in the last session, CSR concept is now maturing, and Madam has worked in digitization and all. So can we have one compendium wherein, see, as a organization, lot of time we face good NGO, we don't find good NGOs. Can we list out, and it can be a ready reckoner that any NGO or any organization want to take a good project of CSR on a particular subject, then it can be made available. So world this Congress HRD can work on that, and that will be a very good, in fact, it will be a good CSR activity on your part to make it more. Thank you very much.
Yeah, in fact, for corporates also, it's a continuous struggle to find good implementation partners, because NGOs are mostly, they work on a particular theme, so they should match the theme that you envision for yourself. And then they are very strong. A particular NGO is not strong in all the geographies. So you have to find the place, the right place for the right partner with the right theme. So yes, if there is a compendium, it will help a lot of help ease a lot of pain. So thank you very much. We have been a wonderful audience and a wonderful panel to accompany me. Thank you very much.